The heir to whom it may concern, so long as they are employees of the Royal Society of Cryptozoology. Last week I took the incentive to invite old Chapman over for a bit of dining and imbibing. I know Chapman from the old campaigning days when we were putting down the mutiny. I still look back with fondness on how we used to walk all over India as if we owned the place, telling the natives how to live their lives or beat the love of Queen into them if they failed to comply. As we were musing over the exploits of the days past, drinking copious amounts of wine, brandy, and champagne, the subject drifted to the question of our personal lives since we last met. I told him about my wasp milking business. It was after his 12th drink that Chapman confessed to me he had been married to a woman for the past 2 years. Understandably confused by this exotic turn of phrase, I asked him what a woman was, and he explained to me that it was like a trap, but without the penis. As you might expect, I was confused beyond measure. First of all, what is a trap without its most precious part? Second, I consider myself something of an expert in traps. I have been to all corners of the world, and I have seen every trap this vast globe has to offer. I have seen milky white traps, and I have seen chocolate traps. I have seen range traps, and elven traps. I have seen traps whose members were as short as a Midsummer Night's Dream, and I have seen ones whose bulges would put purebred mares to shame. But I have never seen one who is totally devoid of a member. Aware of my visible confusion and conscious of my eyes darting around in flabbergastedness like a drunken fool, which I was, Chapman pursued a different line of explanation. "It's like a footer, but with only one set of genitalia," he said, blushing. Well, any reasonable man would agree that defining something by the means of comparing it to something else, but taking away the one defining characteristic of that thing, is undeniably foolish. It is not as if I have never heard of the term woman. I have seen documentaries, produced by the likes of you people, who profess to having seen, met, or touched a woman. What is further, folklore and myths are replete with accounts of women existing. The Trojan War was supposedly ignited over a woman. Mark Antony was supposedly infatuated with one. The cast of Luckiest Star and the Strawberry Panic were almost entirely composed of these mythical creatures. But, having never seen one in person, I have always imagined them to be a legend, much like the Loch Ness Monster, or, like true friendship, purely in the realm of Oriental cartoons I am so fond of watching. I have known Chapman for 20 years now, and although he is no liar, everyone around him would readily confess that he engages in gross exaggerations and selective deviations from the truth. I still remember how he swore that one night in Bengal a vicious tiger broke into his tent. As he reached for the double barrel he always kept beside his bed for such contingencies, he suddenly realized that it was empty, devoid of any cartridges. So he subdued the wild beast by twisting and wrapping the barrels of the aforementioned shotgun around its neck. On another occasion, he claimed he was visited by a fairy in the woods who accosted him, suggesting he should perform a most unchristian act upon her person, an offer to which Chapman readily agreed. Therefore I am forgiven in assuming that the old chap was having me on. But for the past week I have been mulling over the idea of a woman in my head. I have spent many a sleepless night trying to understand why would anyone make such an outrageous claim. More importantly, what is the attraction of a trap without its all-important member? It is, therefore, that I have taken it upon myself to write to you, the most esteemed members of Her Majesty's Royal Society of Cryptozoology, who are well versed in all creatures believed to belong to the realm of the impossible and fantastic, to endow me with your paranormal wisdom. Surely even you, who believe enough in Sasquatches, Chupacabras, and Grey Aliens to investigate them, are reasonable enough to dismiss such claims as beyond the realm of logic. For the sake of all that is good and decent, does such a creature as woman truly exist? Please, I beg a response, as my sleep, and indeed my very sanity, depends on it. Yours confusedly, Sir William Henry Walter Wallace von Moltke.